What has your pet accidentally conditioned you to do? My wife just got out of the cat's chair on our front porch after he strolled up and meowed. Crazy thing is, it's not our cat. Shuffle my feet instead of walking when it's dark so I don't step on my small, black cat. When I come home, my dog comes to the door all excited, wagging her tail, making this woo-woo-wah-woo sound. It's not quite howling, but it's not barking either. I started to woo-wah-wah-wah back to her, because it amused me. But now if I don't, the sound she makes will turn into barking, which is very noisy and unpleasant. So basically she's trained me to have this dumb, woo-woo-woo conversation with her, in order to keep her from yelling at me. Edit because lots of people are asking. She's a Portuguese water dog. My mother's dog tells her when it's time for her evening meal. As in my mother's evening meal. The dog knows she eats after my mother, so when she starts to get peckish she goes and bugs her to start cooking. When I go back to visit, we'll be sitting chatting and the dog will sidle in and become a presence in the room for maybe 30 seconds until my mother casually looks at her watch and says I suppose we better think about eating. She's completely unaware of what triggers her decision. I have a cat that plays fetch, very insistently. She brings me her toy mouse, and if I don't throw it for her, she sits on my laptop keyboard. Of course this all started when I would throw the mouse to keep her from sitting on my laptop. This wasn't accidental. I have a kitten, about 5 months old. Every morning, I wake up and feeding him is one of the first things I do. In the first couple months, in his little brain, he learned that me waking up equals food. About a month ago, he started waking me up, looking to expedite the process. Jumping on me, meowing loudly, running across the bed. Whatever gets me out of bed. I usually wake up around 6 a.m. for work. I guess that was too late for breakfast, as over the course of about a week this kitten would wake me up about 15 to 20 minutes earlier every day. This started on a Sunday and it wasn't until Friday that I was woken up and realized it was 4:30 a.m. It was then that I realized I've been outsmarted by a kitten and I was being conditioned to feed him in the middle of the night. Now if he wakes me up early, he gets locked out of the room until I'm ready to get out of bed. He doesn't wake me up anymore. Run towards the door when they start dry heaving. The sound of a pet or baby about to vomit needs to be an alarm. Instant wake up. One of my dogs has several barks. A play bark and a squirrel bark and other dog things that are normal dog barks. He also had what we call his emergency bark. The emergency bark is what he does when he thinks there is serious danger. It is extremely loud and makes us jump every time. He usually reserves it for things like the time I fell down the stairs and he barked for my husband to help, or when someone is in our front yard, or when he cornered a possum in the backyard. However, since my husband started working from home, this dog barks his emergency bark at my husband if he tries working past 4 p.m. My husband now has learned to stop working at about 3:50 every day to avoid that jarring sound. Work-life balance, Dad. Sleep on my back or front. I used to be a side sleeper but have an elderly cat who loves her human bed. Everything her little heart desires. I am an idiot sucker and she knows it. You are their whole life so might as well give them the most happiness you can. I've shared this before, but I got my dog Snoopy when I was 10 years and ever since he was a puppy he had this weird love for lettuce. He would go absolutely nuts for it, so whenever I had a sandwich or a burger I would give him some of my lettuce. Over the years it became a ritual that whenever I prepared any food for myself that involved lettuce, I would grab some extra lettuce for him, so I could toss it to him as I ate. He passed away 5 years ago after nearly 17 years together, but I still find myself grabbing that bit of extra lettuce for him. It's kind of funny that his little quirk has still stuck with me for all these years and I honestly never wanted to go it away, because it's a little way for me to remember him. Sleep with my legs a cat length apart. She likes to sleep in between them. 2 things. My dog Rusty always puts his front paws on me and I always hugged him, so now when he's anxious he'll give me a hug and I'll hug him back. The other one is when I get ice he always begs for one, so now without thinking I always toss him an ice cube. Edit. Thank you all for the awards. I'd assume you'd all like to know the good boy is sleeping on my chest right now, and yes, he did get an ice cube before bed. Oh, I used to do this too. I'd reach in and get the ice for my drink and just throw one over my shoulder without looking because I knew my dog was gonna catch it. I lost her earlier this year and had to drop the habit after throwing ice on my kitchen floor several times. Edit. My first Reddit awards went to my dog. Rightfully, thanks on her behalf. Here's my baby angel, for who asked. Before I run in the morning I usually scarf down a banana. Ever since we got my sweet dog, I scarf down about 2/3 of my banana and he gets the last part. It's become our little thing, an unspoken agreement. The banana tax. It happens at my house too.
Calm down when I start to lose my temper or get frustrated. Whenever he hears me sigh or swear, he runs to me, rests his chin on my arm or leg and looks up at me with concern. This has made me so aware of how my energy can impact those around me, and I have really gotten my anger under control since he started doing this. He's one of the goodest boys and I am grateful for him every day. A pic of my goodest boy.
My girlfriend's older cat makes me pick her up to drink running tap water from her bathroom sink. I also gotta pick her up to get on the dryer to eat, even though she can easily make the jump. When I get up to go to the bathroom I stand in the door and wait for my elderly cat to come in before I close the door. He likes to keep me company. If he doesn't come in right away I'll call for him, and if still nothing I'll start walking around the house looking for him. My kitten has taught me this new trick. If I'm using the toilet or having a shower, I have to call her in. With my fiancée, she runs from any part of the house to watch him pee. She's quickly received the nickname toilet attendant. Fiancée, I see you're brutally honest. Yell, floor food, whenever I'm cooking and I drop something. Or go, crunch crunch crunch, when I'm chopping veggies, so my dog knows I have extras for her. My dog would sit outside the kitchen with his back straight just waiting for me to drop some food. He knew he wasn't allowed in the kitchen unless I told him to. It was a small kitchen and I didn't want to trip over him to have him get hurt. As soon as I dropped something, I'd either just point to it or say go. And he would run in, pick it up and sit outside the kitchen again like a tennis ball boy. It sucks every time I cook now and I have scraps but no good boy to feed it to. My cat sleeps under the blanket snuggled up to me. Even when I am at a hotel I instinctively raise the blanket a bit so he can crawl in. Edit. Here's my baby boy snuggling me link. Weaving his name into any song I can for no reason whatsoever. Change the water in her bowl. It can be all the way to the top and she'll stand there staring at it until I take the bowl, dump it, and refill it with fresh water. My husky does this sneezing thing when she's anxious and I imitate her every time she does it. Usually causes follow-up sneezes. I also know right when she's about to groan when she's anxious, annoyed, and if I make the noise before she does she won't do it. I have 3 cats so I am as trained as a seal at SeaWorld. Here are just 3. In the evenings, Icy will sleep on the living room furniture. If I get up to get a drink she will stretch and roll over demanding belly rubs. And she wants me to tell her she is a pretty girl. If I don't pet her and tell her that she will meow at me when I come back. Luna likes to know where I am at all times. So she will call out to me and expect me to answer. I know the meow that means Lisa Simpson fan, where the hell are you? She won't stop until I answer her. Mr. Saucy Pants is a big baby so he needs lots of reassurance and I have to leave the bathroom door cracked so he knows he can get to me if he is scared. If it don't this little paw slides under the door and he cries. The only time I shut the door is if other people are here. The cats run the house. When I'm having dinner, my cat would jump on the table and look at me with squinting eyes until I feed him. I try to resist but his eyes squint so hard it's as though he's about to fall asleep. Too cute not to give him a little bit of my food.